Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, check out the latest novel by well-known award-winning author Mia Emotions. You Have No Time for Love, called Missing, an extraordinary relationship between two ordinary people based on real-life events that go through 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and the ones you love will be the first to go missing. Check out the book on Amazon and other retailers, available on all formats today. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com and on over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, Amazon, and Audible, and over 30 podcast platforms, including Geo7, Radio Public, and Himalayan Worldwide. Coming soon at Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with amazing hip-hop artist from New York City, particularly in the Queens area. Song creator, performer, author, and he's got an audiobook called Lost Rebel as well, too. And he's got a very, very interesting story about his story. And his father was a well-known reggae singer before passing on, which was 3 weeks before birth. And Keith will be doing a little music for us. But live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios in beautiful Queens, New York, ladies and gentlemen, the very multi-talented hip-hop artist, song creator, performer, and author, Keith Tryfle Hudson. Keith, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you on board, too. So your father's a well-known reggae singer before passing on 3 weeks before you're born. You lived in Queens, New York all your life, and you also have an album out called 1284, and of course, you also have a audiobook called Lost Rebel and more. And before we get into all that, tell us how I first got started, Trifle.
What's that?
Yeah. Tell us how I first got started.
Oh, how I first got started. My father passed right before I was born, and then long story short, my mom passed, and I was sent to go live in California. And so, through a lot of things going over there and just being very frustrated with, the actual world I was living in and everything going around, my older sibling told me I should start rapping, taught me how to rap and express myself a little bit better, and played me an album by an artist named Nas, who was also from Queens, New York. And I related very well with him and whatnot about what I was going through. And, I just started writing and learning more about my father and his whole legacy and his, career. And it was so rich. And I'm a junior. So never meeting him, but, having his name was really weird. But just starting to write and rap and realizing how much it meant to my culture and how misunderstood it is as a music. It's like, to me, it's poetry. I'm a writer first and foremost. I just choose rap as my expression, but hip hop means so much to the whole world, really. Or whatnot. It's an underdog story. Mm-hmm. Always will be. We have other vantage points of it or whatnot that's a little more like superficial, but ultimately at its heart, it's Shakespeare.
Right. Okay. And also, too, do you think people would get you confused as a reggae singer, just like your dad?
If they're very surface level, yes. If you're just looking on the surface, you probably think, oh yeah, reggae singer. But that side of my family wasn't really there for me and my brother. We didn't really get to know them as much. We had to really, really fend and do more for ourselves than anything. And so I love my history, but I'm Jamaican. I'm full-blooded, but I'm also from Queens. I'm a New York kid. I relate more. I relate more with being like I'm wearing like a tie-dye shirt right now. I relate more with a certain time. I'm in that weird time frame where I'm not Gen X. I'm not millennial. I'm a zennial, really.
Interesting.
That's what they call. I like to say. I was I was raised analog, but I grew up digital, you know, so I know everything that came. It's like a weird little middle ground that, you know, we're kind of forgotten about.
Uh-huh. And of course, how big of a Bob Marley fan are you? I have to ask these, people who are in the reggae. How big of a Bob Marley fan are you?
Well, people in the reggae world will know that Bob Marley and my father were classmates.
Really? Classmates? That's interesting. Wow.
I spent my childhood backstage at Marley concerts.
Oh
So
my gosh.
yeah, there's a photo of my mom and Ziggy Marley in my living room.
Oh my goodness. I wish you had brought that out, but you can show that another time as well, too.
I
And
can send it to you as well. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, to me, all those things that were happening didn't I didn't care. I was a child. I'm like, great, people are here. You know, a lot of artists, you know, would be in our home, and in my audio book I explain all these things and
oh,
how it all went down.
and that's the book Lost Rebel, correct?
Yeah, so Lost Rebel is essentially, I started out as a one man musical that I performed in New York City, and then eventually I decided to just, you know, change it and make it into an audiobook. So there's audio chapters, and then there's a song, chapter, song, and there's even poems in it as well. So it's a very multimedia project for people who do listen to it and get all the way through it. They feel like they watched a movie with a lot of twists and turns, and it means a lot with me because it's one of the few coming of age stories for an African American story where, in the end of the story, I don't lose anybody else. You know, in a lot of our movies where, you know, we're rising up or whatnot, it says that we have to lose someone to move forward.
Mhm.
Where, you know,
And what inspired you to produce Lost Rebels, an audiobook?
you know, I think when I first started rapping, I was trying to fit in to the hip hop mold. And I've always been more of an artist. I draw, I do poetry. And so when I was younger, I didn't really have the confidence and know how to be that within the hip hop world.
Mhm.
And, you know, I think it was more age. It was more like, you know, I did it for the first time when I was 32.
Wow.
Yeah. And, you know, like Lost Rebel, like, you know, and I did it live. And when I did that show live, I had friends who know my music be like, hey, you know what? I've always known your songs, but seeing it in the show, it makes so much more sense to me now. And I'm like, really? It took you this long? It took you to see me do a 90-minute show on stage nonstop for you to understand what I was getting at? And so, you know, a lot of things get lost in translation with people, especially with the hip hop world. And with Lost Rebel, I was able to kind of explain why someone would rap. You know, what's the origin? What are the mechanisms behind it? Because it's, you know, for much as it's a hip hop story, it's really more just a story of a kid coming of age
Uh-huh.
that involves hip hop.
Okay. All right. Well, that's amazing. We'll talk more about that in a minute, along with more of your background and your previous work, 12684. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, check out the latest novel by well-known award-winning author Mia Motion Zia of No Time for Love, called Missing, an extraordinary relationship between two ordinary people based on real-life events that go through 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and the ones you love will be the first to go missing. Check out the book on Amazon and other retailers, available on all formats today. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, Amazon, and Audible. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Heard worldwide on Geo7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with hip hop artist, song creator, performer, author, and the author of Lost Rebel, Keith Tryfle Hudson, here on the Mike Wagner Show. And Keith, before we get to more into Lost Rebel and some of your previous music, what was that one moment that precisely influenced you into what you're doing today?
To what I'm doing today precisely influenced me.
In other words, the moment that went, this is what I'm going to do.
This is what I'm gonna do. It would It would definitely be my brother telling me that my idea for my rap name was stupid. and and that and the process of picking my rap name was really, really funny. I was like, I want to be called Uncanny. He was like, no, that's really stupid. You sound like a superhero. And I was like,
Caddy?
Uncanny, yeah. You
Oh,
know, and then
I'll take that name if you don't want it.
I thought it was a good idea, you know. And then, you know, but years later, superheroes are huge, and I'm like, great, I could have been Uncanny, you know. And then just really kind of just talking with him about, you know, why, you know, it made sense and why I should do it, and how much, like, my grandfather was a Cuban musician as well. So like my family's like rich in music history, and so like it was a way for me to connect with a past that, you know, like I didn't get to actually learn, and it just meant so much at the time. At the time, because I was 16 when that was happening, and I was going through a lot. I had left, and I left someone who was a very abusive to kids. You know, I was abused, and I moved in with my brother, and he was like, look, you know, you have a lot of anger. This is where you can put it out. And it was that moment being like, hey, it's okay to be angry. You can do something positive with it. That was when I was like, okay, I want to teach other kids who could be going through horrible situations that they can still use that for good.
Okay. And also, how'd you come up with the name Trifle?
Oh, yes. So that's the other half of the story. My brother's rap name is Stress, and he was like, you know, how about Trife, which was the one of the first words that my favorite rapper Nas said on his debut song. Streets disciple, my raps are trifle. And so I was like, hey, love this guy, also from Queens, made sense, you know. And yeah, I picked that years later. Now I go by my full name, Keith Tryfle Hudson, because I'm not like worried about my name anymore. Like, you know, it used to be awkward being a junior to someone who, like, you know, I've had mailmen be like, literally be like, Keith Hudson, do you know reggae singer Keith Hudson? I'm like, yeah, it's my father. Like, you know, like, I've had people who I worked at a marketing company. I had one guy who I sold, who was from England, went home to London and was like, hey, I'm watching a film on reggae and punk music in London in the 70s. And your dad is featured for like 20 minutes. I'm like, great, thanks. Like, you know, it's like, so it's but like now it's become really, really cool. It's great knowing that I have a legacy that I had to, you know, walk into and, you know, not live up to, but just, you know, appreciate.
And talking about your dad as well, too, you know, being a Cuban artist as well, too, and a singer. Who are some of the artists that he worked with back in Cuba and also in Jamaica?
Well, my grandfather was the Cuban musician.
Okay, grandfather. Okay, I'm glad you.
My father. Okay, my father worked. So he was a producer first. So he produced for a lot of people. Like, you know, like somehow all these years later, like 36 years after he passed away, the guy has 25,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. I don't really, you know, it's predates him. So Delroy Wilson, Ken Booth, Big Youth as well. Pretty much most of the reggae scene, like he was very, very heavily influenced or whatnot. The whole he released an album called Pick a Dub. Pick a Dub was considered the first true reggae album, instead of songs being like, you know, mashed together. And it was the first dub album to gain a release date in the UK.
Wow, amazing.
And he when he moved over to New York, he signed with Virgin Records. And he had a 5-album deal with them. He released an album called Too Expensive, which was a commercial flop, actually, because they wanted him to be more like Bob.
and yes, it was too expensive. That's what turned out. I think they sealed their fate. Too expensive.
Exactly. that was definitely like.
Oh my gosh.
And, you know, what's funny is that I found an article of his recently, and I was reading it, and my partner, she was like, you know, if I didn't know any better, your dad is getting skewered in this interview, but he's having a great. He sounds like you. He's like, someone could trash you to your face, and you'd be like, yeah, I can see your point. I see that, you know. Yeah.
I wouldn't dare trash him. It's like, why would someone trash your dad? That's the thing. Why would somebody trash him?
That album was an experimental album, and as an artist who makes a lot of experimental stuff and takes risks, you know, I know what he was getting at. I know what the interviewer was getting at as well. but they still had a great conversation, you know.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I heard the name as well too, and I thought to myself, and you mentioned commercial, I thought, and I heard some expensive productions, which were flops, not just albums, movies, videos,
Mm-hmm.
and Broadway musicals and everything. And I thought to myself, oh no, but I wouldn't mind checking out that album. Of course, I'll have a different opinion with it, obviously. And of course, it's good to experiment and everything else. And also before we get to one of your works, 12/6/84, who are some of your other favorite artists and musicians and rappers and singers growing up? Who are some of your others?
You know, for me, I'm kind of like, I was influenced by pretty much anything that really came out during the 1990s, man. Like I'm a 90s kid through and through. Like I enjoyed everything, you know, everything that MTV put on. I sucked it all in, you know, like all the punk rock, all the rap, all the gangster rap, all the emo. Like, you know, like Hot Topic to me was where my gothic friends went to, not where kids just, you know, hang out now.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really just the whole, like, I loved, you know, J-Lo's, the Linkin Parks, the Korn, Metallica. Like I listened to everything. There's not one genre that I did not appreciate during that time, you know. Hootie and the Blowfish, like I listened to every genre.
Mm-hmm. And that's amazing as well too. And of course, we'll talk about your worm release that you had, and also a little bit more about your book, Lost Rebel, and throw on a surprise as well too for us. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking a budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition rate. Call today 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, check out the latest novel by a well-known award-winning author, Mia Motion Zia, of No Time for Love, called Missing, an extraordinary relationship between two ordinary people based on real-life events that go through 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and the ones you love would be the first to go missing. Check out the book on Amazon and other retailers, available on all formats today. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on over 30 podcast platforms, including the MikeWagnerShow.com, also on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, Amazon, Audible, also worldwide on Geo7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. And coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with New York hip-hop artist, singer, songwriter, song creator, performer, author, Keith Tryfle Hudson, here on the Mike Wagner Show. And you also had your debut album called 12/6/84, and tell us more about that one.
Oh, that one came out of pretty much a long time ago now. But it was really, really fun to start off. It's like, I guess I was trying to tell a story, and I was trying to tell Lost Rebel back then, and I didn't really know how to fully tell it, but it was a fun album and a fun way to start in, you know, early 2000s, making music in New York City, going into a lot of studios and just making music without any pressure. That's what I would really classify with that album.
Mm-hmm. Also have some on Spotify as well too. And I mean, there's this. I'm trying to figure out which one's a highlight. Maybe you can just tell some of the ones that are featured on Spotify, and also tell us a little about those.
I would say my song "Save a Spot for Me"
on
Spotify, which is about my mother. That one is definitely a highlight that people always kind of latch on to, because it's a highlight in Lost Rebel as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of music in Lost Rebel as well.
Okay.
And I score. Yeah. So Lost Rebel is not a traditional audiobook. It's like I score the chapters like a movie.
Okay.
And when each one ends, a song plays.
Oh, wow. Okay. And
Yeah,
maybe you can do a little bit of acapella or a little bit of
yeah,
something
yeah.
off of Lost Rebel, and give us an idea of what it sounds like as well too, so everybody can go to Amazon
So
to check out Lost
let's
Rebel.
so Lost Rebel. Let's give you. Let me just jump right in. So my brother came home angry out of his mind. He said, "I'm not coming upstairs until someone tells me what's going on. Why are you all here?" My godfather Sky stood right by me on the top step and told my brother, "Jay, I'm sorry. Your mother has died." And after that moment, I go into to the song "Save a Spot for Me,"
Okay.
which would be, "Mama, save a spot for me. I know you and Pop can see. I fail undoubtedly, never knowing how to see. It's been 20 years and I still haven't grown. It's understandable, but not mathematical. You cast a big shadow. I'm a kid in the battle. The world is very cruel and I'm sick of the hassle. Your death is a mystery, confessing my misery. I'm left with the history. The regret is killing me. I'm very far from perfect. I'm evil on the surface. You seeing that I'm worthless. Indeed, I'm very nervous. Advice was never given on how I should be living. Of you, my final vision was you throwing up blood. I see you in my dreams, always standing by the water. We agree on many things. You tell me it gets harder. One day we'll meet again, and I want to make you proud. Know you'll be there in the end. I ain't never had a doubt. Every picture that I see has got me missing you more. The elixir for the grief is buried deep in my soul. You can see through my soul because you brought me to life. Why do we feel cold when we ought to feel alive? This home was full of color. Everything is turned to gray. Alone with my brother, now we gotta learn our way. Every word you said was great. I try to follow your shoes. You would work like a slave to keep us out of them shoes. I'm hollering at the moon, hoping you got acquainted. I'll become a man soon. I'm sorry that I waited. Our life was never painted, better yet, it's not shaded. I'm underestimated, it's driving me so crazy. The world is so different, I don't think you'd understand. And by my own admission, I've been lost without a plan. Feel like I'm at war, my team is outnumbered. You taught me to want more and know what my heart's for. Finally made you the song I know you deserve. I waited so long, I couldn't find the words. You pick me up when I fall, I'm not afraid to lose. You're the one I'm gonna call, I'm gonna spread the news. My guardian angel has never missed a minute. The loss has been painful, guess God needs you vivid. Still don't get it, my anger ain't diminished. Can't be selfish, you were so selfless. You were giving birth to me while mourning your husband. I'm certain you're with me. Without you, I'm nothing. Continue the legacy is all I really think of now. What is a destiny? I'm tearing these walls down. If we could turn back time, don't know what I would have done. You stay on my mind and my terrible son. If we could have one moment where heaven and earth meet, I would keep my heart open so that anyone could see. Mama, save a spot for me.
Wow. That was terrific. That was very terrific, Keith. I love it. I'm going through the image in my mind what you went through. I mean, you guys just have a great legacy. You're truly amazing. And once again, where can we find Lost Rebel and your other works at, Keith?
It's all on Spotify. Lost Rebel is on there. That's probably the heaviest moment of Lost Rebel, but it does get heavier. The whole show is it's a nice little trip or whatnot, but it ends very, very well. You know, I'm the perfect example that it ends well or whatnot. And yeah, this has been great.
It sounds like it's great too. And what can we expect from me in 2021 and beyond?
Oh, I found my new project, which is just as big as Lost Rebel, but very, very different. I'm doing a project about humanity where I created an empathy interview, and I'm interviewing listeners of my music or strangers, and based off of their answers, I'm making a song about them creatively and anonymously, and I'm challenging myself to make 100 songs in the next year.
Wow, that is something I've never heard of that, where you actually talk to people and you take what they say and you put it in a song.
Yeah, I've already made 6 of them.
That is amazing. And when can we expect them?
I'm going to be releasing them as the year goes on. So like every about 10 or 12 songs, I'm just going to release it on Spotify as an album. And so there'll be a lot of music this year coming up for me or whatnot.
Wow. And I'm so looking forward to it, Keith. We're here with Keith Tryfle Hudson here on the Mike Wagner Show, based out of Queens, New York. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Oh, in my career. Like as an artist or just like anyone?
It can be an artist, it can be anyone, or it can be whatever. So it's your choice.
I would definitely say I would say a collection of people. It's really about a few, like I would say Michael Jordan, Jay-Z, The Rock, Derek Jeter. I had to find father figures and role models out in the world because, lack of a father or whatnot. And so I clinged to those people. And Will Smith, like I watched those guys' work habits and how they went about their work really resonated with me.
That is amazing. I gotta say that is just fantastic. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
At this point, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for, I know it's simple. I know it's, I guess it's, remember that we're all in the same consciousness, anyone who we think is like, no one's bigger or special than you. Everyone's breathing the same air. We're all standing on the same ground.
And I think that's very important as well, too. And well said. Once again, Keith Tryfle Hudson of New York City on the Mike Wagner Show. Keith, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back on 2021 and beyond. And before we go, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or listen to your music, especially Lost Rebel?
So everything is on Spotify and Apple Music. You can follow me at KeithTryfleHudson.com. The same name on any of my social media platforms. To buy the music physically, you can buy it on Bandcamp. And on Bandcamp, I'm showcasing all of my music that's unreleased as well. So before it comes out on Spotify and Apple Music, it'll be on Bandcamp first.
That is amazing. Once again, Keith, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely great. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back on in 2021 and beyond. And don't forget to keep in touch. You are absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.